guess I actually did mean to ask this and I forgot. Financially, what are there differences with the caste system financially? Like, are people in the higher caste more financially well off?
You cannot say that. One cannot say that. The people in the lower caste were denied opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
so that would have put them in a financially better position. Would have positioned them better. For example,
Okay.
uh, in the year 1965, the Hart Celler Act, it legalized certain class immigrants to travel from India to come to here. So if you consider this, in 1965, they opened the gates for engineers and doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, who are the engineers and doctors? It was the people from the upper caste.
Mm-hmm.
So the opportunity door was more open from them. Whereas the country US believed when we open it up for specialized occupations, it is equality. But in turn, the people who came at that time into the country were the people who had better education. And so they were able to walk, all the higher caste was able to walk into the country at
Ah,
that time.
okay.
But the movement that I was talking to you was slowly building to educate people. They fought for the rights to send their kids to school, because at one point, kids were not even allowed to get educated, lower caste kids.
Wow.
So they will not be put in school. And the school system would be in a temple area, and that's where the religion connect comes in. And the lower caste is not supposed to walk on those streets. So obviously, the schools are being built on those streets. People cannot reach out and go get educated.
Mm-hmm.
So it put a majority of the even in the hierarchy that you mentioned, except for the 1 and 2, maybe the 3 and 4. Of course, the fifth one, who is outside of all that, the Dalits, they were not allowed to get education.
Wow.
So that put a stop. So it was denied opportunities more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So even with the upper caste getting opportunities, some may utilize the opportunity to get better financially, but some may still not. So the discussion of, is it related to their financial situation? In some cases, yes, but in some cases it may not be the one. So with some exceptions.
I get it. Oh wow, that's so interesting. And as you say that, I can understand more like her comparison between blacks and the diets.
Diets, okay.
Yeah, I understand the comparison even more as you say that,
Diets.
because of course with us we weren't allowed to be educated. We weren't allowed
Correct.
to how to read. Yeah.
It was surprising to me when I came in, when people would ask, "Oh, do you really eat meat?" I'm like, "Yeah, I grew up eating meat. Of course, I eat meat. I eat fish. Why not?" "Oh, I thought all Indians don't eat meat." So it is tied. The food is also tied up to the caste system for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, and in India, more than 70% of them eat meat. Right.
I didn't realize that. I never thought that.
But the folks who came in the beginning from the upper caste, they don't eat meat. So that represented India, that population represented India, which is not entirely true. So people have these connotations that, oh, you're from India, you shouldn't be eating meat, or they assume so because of their initial set of people who came. They represent, they are part of India, but they're not the entire India. In fact, not the majority of India who loves to eat meat, cook meat, and all that. So there is that political thing connected to food as well.
I never thought about that, the correlation between food and the system. Oh, okay. And then did you, I don't know how to phrase this question. Like once you came, when did you come to America? Let me start there.
So the very first time I came on a business visa in 2008, but then in 2010, it's almost like I came in and I go to vacation to India, but let's say 2010 is when I knew that I'm going to be here for long.
Okay. So
12 years.
When you came to America, did you experience like racism, and were you able to make comparisons between racism in America and the system in India?
Definitely, yes. But I was not well read back then. I observed few things and I was not able to bring in the connect. And then I started the journey of understanding and the connection. I have read many books like the one that you read from Isabel Wilkerson. I have read such books about racism as well, and hear how it happens, and about caste systems as well, particularly the book by Ambedkar, which is The Annihilation of Caste, where he has tied between the race system here and the caste system there. He has done similar comparisons.
Really?
Through which I understood many, and how the pop culture, how the rap culture, how through art people here express themselves, and some of the people in the art in back from country, they say, why don't we follow them? They are doing it the right way, expressing through art, so you are heard more than through riots or protests or stuff. Let's express our pain through rap and art, and that will take in the world, it will live forever for the future generation.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Are there people in your family that disagree with your belief system, with not aligning with caste?
today there's a positive sign. Today the youngsters don't want to associate themselves with a caste. They don't believe in the caste system. It's a positive thing that it is changing, and not in my family. They mostly align with the thinking that there shouldn't be a caste system in the first place. I grew up in a city, and that's where I'm going to go a little explaining about how it is different from where you come from. Growing up in a city, yes, there are things that you go through, but not a whole lot. When it comes to villages, which are the hearts of India, majority of India was villages, and now many of them are getting converted into towns and small cities and then big cities. Villages, people actually live like how the Varna system is, like one particular caste in one area, the other particular caste in another area. They even have different funeral homes, cemeteries that they call for. This one caste shouldn't be buried in another place, and obviously the Shudras or the Dalits are on the outskirts, and there you see more of the socio-economic thing playing. These will be like a little poor people. They are outside. They will be given jobs with our laborers, and that brings me to another article that I read, where another lawsuit by some of the lower caste who were brought from India through immigration in a special type of visa for worshiping God, but then they were asked to do labor work in New Jersey, and they were underpaid. So, as the caste system has many implications, and one of this is how you exploit people using that. So, between a village and a city, it is a little different equation on how we go through that.
And then,
my parents, when they in my childhood, they didn't bring up the topic. I mean, there is a good and bad thing there. they should have actually spoken out about it. But when I was trying for my employment right after my college, that's when I got to face the reality. My uncle referred me to someone, and he was not willing to give the opportunity because he had a preconceived notion that people from the higher caste usually have certain mindset, so they can be considered, we have to wait. So it kind of, he didn't ask, okay, let's understand this guy, what he's capable of or anything, but rather the birth defined anything. At that point, I came back, was like pretty upset, obviously. And then like, why was I not considered? Being considered and being heard and receiving such a feedback, fine. I go flunk at interviews. That is okay.
Right.
But that made me think, and then I checked with my parents, and then they said so many stories. Why didn't you put me through all this or tell me all this from the beginning?
Okay.
I would have been more prepared and all. But thankfully, he denied that opportunity. Now I am here. I've made my life better. Thanks to the universe, I'm here talking to you in a much more better position than me ended up working for him.
Yeah, exactly. It worked out, right? What do you teach your kids?
What do I teach? So I made sure not to do the same thing. I tell my kids about religion and about caste, that it exists, it's good and bad. And particularly with the caste system, if somebody comes and asks you, hey, you're from India, do you belong to a particular caste? If anybody asks so or something, you say, I choose not to call myself under any caste system.
Right.
So that's what I've been teaching them.
That's great.
And one leader that totally a different topic. One leader that people in America here know is Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi, who has a high name across the globe, and his viewpoint against the caste system is he's against untouchability. But he's not against the caste system because he is a more pro-Hindu. He supports the Varna system. He believed in a Varna system to whatever his understanding was that time. So he kept saying, it's almost like, I can't help but explain this in a different way. He kept saying, if you have germs in your fingernails, keep removing the germs, which means he says, let's not have untouchables, but let's have the caste system. It's almost saying, keep the nails, but keep working on the germs. That's not going to happen. You got to get rid of your nail in order to, that's the source. Yeah, you cannot put a band-aid. You got to fix the root cause.
Right. Thanks for saying that.
You're welcome. Yeah. One thing is, whenever I speak my perspective, my opinions, there is also another side to the coin. And I am someone who always look for the grain of truth on what on the other side, people who believe in the caste system, believe that Hindu religion is devoid of the caste system. Where are they coming from? I try to understand that. They may have a reason, right?
Right.
And even in the Cisco lawsuit, they think that it is causing divide than uniting people. But it is also burying the fact that if you have to take your stand, and very recently our company's CEO came back during the George Floyd Black Lives Matter. He said, we have to take a stand. Here, you don't have a choice other than to take a stand. I absolutely believe so. You cannot just push it under a blanket. And it is, as I said in my disclaimer, standing on the side of someone who is being discriminated is not about going against a particular religion or a community or a country. It is more humanity. We are at an era in 2022, we are global citizens with what's happening around. I may be born in some place, but I'm a man and I wanted to be treated equally as a human being wherever I go.
And that's what you deserve, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's my last thought for the evening.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm happy that you stopped and added more. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Cher. It was wonderful. Again, thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope we get to meet and interact more on this topic or any other topic for that matter. Oh,
sorry. I did have one more thing I thought about. Because you said you work with a group in the area and you guys talk about these things and kind of work. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, it's called a study circle, which operates at a level in it. We have people all over the United States, but then we have a mini group for the state of Florida. Me and one of my friends, we started this group within Florida because of the idea that came from the overall global presence as well. There it is more about sharing these ideas. It's a book study. So you come and read some of the books and we discuss concepts, but they also do some of the events and they talk to universities where whatever I'm doing with you, they do it to larger organizations saying, could you please add caste as one of the thing for discussion? So that level of work is happening in the background. Again, with the whole goal is to bring in awareness that this thing might even exist here. And when somebody struggles, there is a very logical reason why they are struggling. And we want the leaders here to acknowledge that struggle and help them with.
And how does someone find out more about that? Like if they were interested in contacting that group to learn more?
I think we have a website and a Facebook page.
Yeah, send it to me and I can post it in the description. If anyone wants to go.
Sure. Let me find that. Is it okay if I send you a text?
Yeah, you can text it to me for sure. Yeah. Thank you. That's helpful. I forgot that I definitely wanted to ask you about that. So thanks.
And that's another organization that got me more thinking and how to be more open about coming out and talking to people about this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
really cool.
And there is the Equality Labs that I mentioned that wanted to do this conversation. That's another not-for-profit organization, but it's more Dalit, not-for-profit, and fighting for the rights of Dalits who are being discriminated. So those organizations do exist here.
Okay. And anybody can reach out and find out more and get more information?
I haven't worked with Equality Labs, but I can find more. Yes, absolutely. If you're interested in including them as part of your work and wanting to reach out, I think they'll be very open to such an idea.
Okay.
And someone like that working in Google reached out to them, and which it went in a different direction, but the idea is, I think they are open. And what I read about them is they have already done such things, leaving Google, Microsoft, the top tech companies, all of them had them in their invitation. They were able to do this in other tech companies.
Okay, got it.
And then they got hit with this one issue with Google. So
wow, yeah, I'm gonna read more about that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. I will pass on the articles about that in a given time. Sure.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome, Sharon.